First of all, again, an introduction on what we're about. Specifically, we are challenging many of the interpretations, physical interpretations of mathematical physics. More than most of them, we're challenging them all. We're saying none of them have anything to do with reality. And the main reason here is that they're in the movement of concepts, okay? And we're in the movement of objects. We think physics has to be mediated by objects. So here I'm going to show the bottom line for us. We're saying that and I'm going to move a little bit aside so that you can see that a little better there. That's the basic system. We have two atoms interconnected by a rope, okay, two twined threads. The twined threads, you can think about them as DNA-like. In fact, one of the theories, or I guess guesses, intuitions, is that DNA copied its form from light. That's why DNA is helical, and so is, just like light is. The atoms pump back and forth, and they essentially transmit a torsion from atom to atom, and the torsion travels in both directions. That's light. If we take light out of there, now we're going to put something else. We're going to give a little image of gravity. Okay, and here's gravity, the essence of gravity. We're saying as two objects move together, they could be celestial objects, they could be anything here on Earth. And as you can see here, there are 5 atoms on the cube, on the left-hand side of the screen there, and 1 atom connected to 1 atom in the cylinder, number 6 there. As the cylinder approaches the cube, the ropes that seem to pull as one in the first case now pull independently. So they're essentially pulling as two objects approach, the ropes fan out, and there are more ropes intervening. That's why you have an acceleration, the acceleration of gravity. Okay. And finally, let me remove this one. Not finally, there's 2 more, sorry. Here we have magnetism. This is our version of magnetism. We have 2 magnets, and they're not divided into north and south as convention would have it. They're divided into top and bottom. We divide the magnet lengthwise. We have a top part, I call it just the top part, and the bottom part. And the atoms on the top, in this case, are all the blue curved arrows there that you can see. They're twirling clockwise, whereas the bottom ones are twirling counterclockwise. So what happens? As the rows, those rows on the top, the violet, pink ones on the top, they're twirling around and they're swinging threads around themselves, and that is what goes around a magnet that forms the so-called magnetic field. As the threads of the top part come down, the threads of the second magnet top part come up, and that's where they have this attraction, this friction. These walls of threads that form the magnetic field attract the other field. And the bottom one is exactly in reverse. They're moving counterclockwise. As one comes up, the other one comes down, and so we have attraction on all 4 corners of the magnets where they are facing each other. And that's the basic mechanism that we're proposing for magnetic attraction. I haven't brought today the magnetic repulsion, but if you turn one of the magnets around, let's say the one on the right, you turn it exactly 180 degrees around, you will see that they will hit each other and they will push each other away. That's the mechanism. And how does this differ from what is being suggested by mainstream? Well, mainstream proposes essentially that all atoms are islands. They're discrete particles. And not only atoms, but subatomic particles are also discrete particles. So, whereas the Rope hypothesis that you can see there, all atoms are interconnected. So the question we have for the math phys side, or the objection we have against it, is that, if you're going to have one of those little balls pull out another little ball, you better have some kind of mediator. And if you don't have a physical mediator to put in there, you're in effect tacitly putting in their spirits, because there's no way a little ball can influence another ball at a distance without a mediator. And that's essentially where the two proposals differ. The Rope hypothesis from the what I call the particle hypothesis, which it turns out, to make matters worse, they're not really particles. The word particle means something different in mathematical physics. It's used as a little ball whenever they want to illustrate the physical interpretation, but when you push these people against the wall, they'll deny and say, well, it's not really a little ball as you would think, a corpuscle, as Newton thought about it. It's a quantity. So they're moving in abstraction, a point particle, a zero-dimensional nothing. And so you got to keep that in mind also. But assuming that in the best case scenario that these are three-dimensional balls, the only way one can influence another at a distance is with a mediator. Without that, you're tacitly, implicitly introducing a spirit in there. Okay? And again, that's why I refer to it as mathemagicians. They're doing it with magic, black magic.